Hey everyone, how are you? Let's get the right screen here. Happy, what are we? January 14th. Hope everybody is doing well. Welcome to the weekly Thursday evening investing, peer-to-peer lending, cryptocurrency live stream. I had to run downstairs and get some tea in my Yellowstone. I don't know if you can see that. Yellowstone National Park mug. A little bit late starting, apologies. I'm glad everybody's here today. This is our regular stream. For everybody that was here yesterday, we had a cryptocurrency lesson tutorial. Forgot to wear the hat, but yeah, it was fun. If you are interested in cryptocurrency, you want to learn how to use Coinbase or Coinbase Pro or either or both, click on the channel, click on the live stream, past live stream. I think it's under the menu, it's on the playlist. And we did a 49-minute live tutorial yesterday on how to transfer money between Coinbase and Coinbase Pro and to actually make trades, how to buy the crypto. So if you've ever wanted to get into it, it's a good tutorial, walk you all the way through it. Got the Tatley tonight. But yeah, we definitely have some stuff to go through today. We're going to be focusing a lot of the time on the peer-to-peer side. What do we got today? Got some stuff about Lendinvest. We'll do our usual loan pad update. Growth Street, good news this week. Some Zopa stuff, some Kuflink stuff, Crowdproperty, and then we'll talk about some other things that are going in the financial industry. Some crypto talk, interest rate talk about debt. We're going to talk about debt today too a little bit for anybody that's a newcomer to the stream, and maybe you're struggling with the debt side of things. We'll have a little chat about debt and some of the ways you can maybe rethink that in your life. Some people struggle with it. There was a news report that came out this week about high levels of debt that have occurred over the last several months because of what's going on with COVID. It's a challenging time for some people, and debt can be a real problem during times like that. People turn to credit cards. But anyway, we'll talk about that. If you can go ahead and just hit that thumbs up button, because I know you're going to forget to do it, because you're going to be so enthralled with my nattering, chatting away. So please hit the thumbs up now if you haven't already. Let's go ahead and say hi to everybody who's here. Usually with a weather report, right? We have made this some kind of a weather show. But let's see. We've got Colin Perry from the Peak District. By the way, I was looking at the Peak District on the Google Maps because I've never actually visited the Peak District. I'm embarrassed to say I lived 2 hours away from there, so maybe 2.5 hours in Grimsby and Humberside, and never went to the Peak District. Pretty embarrassed. So lucky Colin Perry, you get to live there. It's a beautiful place, it looks like. John Cutler here in sunny Blackpool. Sunny Blackpool. Wow, that's two words you don't hear very often together. Hi ES, who is on time today. I think ES is in Portugal, if I remember right. Paul Bagworth from Kenilworth. Cold and wet. Akichak from Wintry, Accrington. Well, it is January. Mr. Aki, if you didn't know that, it's probably pretty cold everywhere. Got to grab the dog. Otherwise, she's going to whine. Peter Clark from Huntingdon. Norman P. Very wet and gloomy Sussex. Mike Powell says, good evening. Back to 40K in Bitcoin. I know. I'm surprised. We'll chat a little bit about that. Philip in Milton Keynes. Philip Walters. Annabelle is here from snowy Spain. I really didn't know it snowed in Spain. Every time I've been there, it's been hotter than hell. Hades. John Day. Alan Toombs in Basingstoke. Damp, not bad. John Day in snowy Nottingham, or pre-snowy Nottingham. Peter in a soggy Leatherhead. David in Stowmarket. Stephen in snowy Nottingham. Should have been flying to Florida this week for a cruise out of Miami. Never mind, can't beat being at home with time off work. A cruise ship may not be the best place to be at the moment, for sure. I'd probably go on a cruise in the future, but I think I'd be concerned about getting stuck on the cruise ship. Because you remember those stories about people being out at sea for several weeks. That, I think, would just be awful. Paul Keisling from Southampton. Nice to see you. Welcome to the stream. Good to see you. Stephen Manton here. I think I'm starting to remember where everybody's from because most of you are regulars. I think Steve, I'm probably going to butcher this, but I'm thinking like Solihull, maybe, Birmingham. Paul Ward in Portsmouth, England. Chimpo Naughty Darren from a cold and wet Cambridge. Debbie from the Caymans. Shorts and t-shirt weather here. That's you. You're going to piss everybody off. Egg and B, weather in Miami. Today it's about, actually I'm in Orlando, but it's very sunny outside, and I got to do my conversion. It's not that warm today, believe it or not. Hold on. We'll see. 17 degrees. In a week it will be 24 degrees. It's a little bit hot for this time of year. Yep, Norman says, Debbie not kind. Cheeky boy in Folkestone, nice to see you, sir. Jackie in Raleigh. I almost said Raleigh. And where else? Everybody just, do your thumbs up. Sue, usually in North Staffordshire, but she's in sunny Tenerife. Tony in Somerset. Nice to see you, Tony in Somerset. My bad accent. Anyway, and Dan Barber here in Hayfield. So thank you, everybody, for joining. Glad to see you. We're going to get right into a little chit-chat, weekly update. If you have questions, comments, you want to know anything in particular, pop it in the chat. If I don't know the answer, probably somebody else will. Because I don't know everything. The crystal ball is always here to answer future predictions. I think I'm going to get one of those 8 balls where you shake it and it actually tells you what the answer is. Because it's 98% statistically correct. So you have a stock that you're looking at. I can ask the 8 ball, is that stock a buy or not? But yeah, let's crack right into it. Don't forget to join our Facebook group too, which is the Financial Thing Facebook group. If you haven't already, we've got 288 members in the group, and everybody seems to enjoy the interaction that goes on in the Facebook group. Let me go ahead and copy that in the chat. Also, the Funding Secure Action group and the Wellesley Action group and the Lendy Action group. You can join those if you're investors. I would highly recommend you can do that in Facebook. Just search for them. And I am a member of all 3 of them. So highly recommend. I'll keep you updated on what's going on with the administrations. I wonder if there'll be a money thing group soon too. So I don't know. I don't have time to make a group like that, but I'm sure somebody else will. So let's see what's going on this week. LoanPad, my slow and steady LoanPad. How I love you so much at the moment. You just doing what you do, and particularly pleased this week to see one of the loans that was being serviced by the interest coverage fund is now out. Now we've only got one loan being serviced by the interest coverage fund. We saw the amount of money that had been paid out of the fund drop back down to £15,400 this week out of the 40K. I think we were up to about 27,000 last week. That means they've taken care of one of the loans that was straggling behind. So yeah, we've gone down from 41 to 40 loans this week. Pretty much everything else just exactly the same as normal. So if you haven't checked out LoanPad, it's definitely on my top 5 for sure at the moment. I think it's I become more and more comfortable with them as time goes on, and have a good relationship with Louis over there. Super happy with them. A lot happier than I am with some of the other peer-to-peer companies that I think have failed their customers. So thumbs up to LoanPad this week. Had a really good chat yesterday with Narinder Kaur, who's the CEO of Kuflink, and he promised me that he will be here on January 21st with his big, beautiful smile to talk about Kuflink, and they just seem to be doing great at the moment. They've had a great January last year. Some of the things that he mentioned to me was that they've really slimmed down their operations to become more profitable, and they're writing more business now than they ever have. So happy with Kuflink. They've surpassed their £100 million lending. It's £100 million in lending recently, which is a big milestone for people in the peer-to-peer business. So put it on your calendar, otherwise you'll forget. January 21st, which incidentally is the day before my birthday. So, I might wear a birthday hat that day. I'm not going to tell you how old I'm going to be turning because it's rude to ask a guy his age. But yeah, come have a chat and listen with Narinder. He's going to answer all your questions. Incidentally, if you have questions specifically that you want me to ask him, and he's a very open book. He's very transparent. He tells me things that I wouldn't expect CEOs of companies to tell me. But if you have questions, go to join the Facebook group, and I'm going to put a thread up there probably a week beforehand as an announcement. It'll show at the top of the Facebook group where you can leave your questions if you have any questions. I know some people asked questions last time before when he was supposed to come on, but that did not happen. So let's see, also Kuflink. So during December 2020, they put up 20 new deals on the platform. I mean, it's a lot of deals. Lent out over £2.5 million and repaid over £1.1 million of capital and interest. Now, one of my gripes about Kuflink has always been second charge loans that they offer sometimes, but they're becoming more and more rare. I've always said, be very careful and very wary of second charge loans. They're usually not worth the interest that these peer-to-peer companies pay on them. I think for me to lend on a second charge, I want to get some crazy low loan to value and probably like 15% in interest, and most of these companies can't do that or choose not to. So, but Kuflink is doing far less of those second charge loans anyways now. So that was one of my gripes that we talked about yesterday, Narinder and I, and we'll talk about that on Thursday on the 21st. Super happy with them. They continue to be on the top 5 list too. So all that free publicity that you're getting there, Kuflink, you can thank me later. Buy me a tea. Discount on assets capital continues to drop. This morning it was 1.3%. So all of you people that sold out of your assets capital, loans back 3 months ago when you were freaking out about what was going on with, COVID, and you were paying like 9-10% to have people buy your loans. I think it was a mistake, but you know what? That's water under the bridge. You can still sell out very cheaply now. Assets capital, 1.3% discount on the QAA this morning when I checked. I have actually used the QAA discount selling. It's very quick. I think I sold out at 2.4%, a small amount. For the most part, my funds are still invested there. But yeah, I sold out at 2.4%, got the money instantaneously, and was able to withdraw quickly. So all good over there. Incidentally, Stuart Law and I, he's the CEO of Assets, I've been in communication with him about coming onto the stream, which if I'm having to predict will probably happen in February. So we'll hopefully get him on there and LoanPad. Louis, if you're listening, I'm not going to let you slide. You're going to come on the screen. Last time I was over in England, I went to visit Louis, and I wanted him to make a video with me, but he was very shy. And he's not. He's very strict with compliance, and he's going to make sure everything's compliant. So he said, look, I'm not going to do a video with you now, but I'll write you an IOU. Still hasn't paid on the IOU for the video, so I'm going to make him come on the stream instead. He's just checking with compliance to see what he can and cannot say on the stream, so they do have to be careful being FCA authorized. What else? So let's talk about Lendinvest. Now, I think I forgot to talk about this, but back in, I believe December, they reported their earnings, and Lendinvest is another company and strictly not a peer-to-peer lender, just so you understand. That they don't have contracts between peer-to-peer investors and the borrowers, so strictly not peer-to-peer lending. But they do appear on my list because at one time they did consider becoming a FCA authorized peer-to-peer lender, which they decided not to go down that route. So I sort of still consider them in the same, family, even though it's really not, because you are lending money technically to Lendinvest. But December, they released that profit information, and super impressive. I mean, from April 2020 until September 2020, which is an extremely troubled, difficult time for anybody in finance and just anybody in business in general, their gross profit was up 22%, and they made a gross profit of 17.6 million. And that's one of the reasons they appear on my top 5 list, because when I went to visit them, they really were a sensible operation, very well organized. There was such a buzz in the office there. And they're also part of a much larger group. So Lendinvest is not on its own. They're well financed, well funded, and beautifully they're making a great profit. So profitability is important, in some cases. Some of these peer-to-peer lending companies are running in the red. Not always a bad thing, because some of them are in growth stages, but once a company like Lendinvest shows that they can really turn a profit, and especially during a tough economic time of COVID, you kind of have to give them a pat on the back and say, hey, you're doing the right thing. You're making a profit. They're also equipped to handle this second lockdown. They have things in place. They're very fast to adapt when things are not quite going right. The way they're structured, they have a great pipeline of loans, new loans, and most importantly, they've well funded to weather any storms that happen, due to these strange economic conditions that are happening within COVID. So big thumbs up to them for Lendinvest for turning a good profit during a difficult time. Again, it is a company I invest for. I don't have a lot of money with them, mainly because I was just, spread my funds so thin across all of the companies that I was testing out. But if I did have more money, Lendinvest would be one of the companies I would likely put it into. So, round of applause. Hang on, let me see if I have applause sound effect somewhere. Do I? I don't know. I thought I did. Party noise. Here we go. Round of applause. I didn't hear it, but hopefully it played. A round of applause for Lendinvest for doing a good job with their business. Happy to see that. Another round of applause this week. Yesterday, actually. Come on. Did it go? Did I hear any applause? Maybe a potty noise? No, I don't know if that's working, but Growth Street paid everybody back. I mean, pretty cool, right? Growth Street, well done. 100% payback to investors. Everybody should have been paid back yesterday, which was January 13th. And I was actually one of the few people that were paid back very, very early on. I don't know why. I'm not sure if it was because I had a good relationship with them, but they paid me back months and months ago. But I really did have, my fingers crossed that investors were going to be paid back 100%. And they were. And that's such a bright light in what's happened with the other companies that have closed their doors. Growth Street, well done to you for paying everybody back. Now, a couple of things. If you're an investor in Growth Street and you didn't know that the money was coming back to you, if you have a nominated bank account that's attached to your Growth Street account, that will be paid into your bank account. But I highly recommend log in. Make sure you don't have any funds in there, especially in a week or so, because you don't want to leave it for too long. What they'll do is go into a solvent wind down once all of this stuff is completed. So you want to make sure all your money is out. If you don't have a bank account that's nominated, you have 30 days to withdraw the funds. So make sure you get in touch with Growth Street. You can call them. Just go to their website. You can live chat on their website or email them. Just make sure that you get your cash out for sure. You don't want to have cash waiting in there, especially when they're going to go voluntarily solvent, wind down. And you're going to get a final tax statement too from them. But yeah, keep up on that. I really think is a good example of how I wish the peer-to-peer companies all operated like that. Lendy, funding secure, money thing, collateral. But that's a good thing. I had a really good relationship with Grove Street. I was sad when they announced that they were going to be closing, and especially with Greg Carter, who was the former CEO who left. Greg was always just very nice to me and always had open door policy. They had good tea there, biscuits, and they were very kind to me. So, I'm glad that they hopefully will have a good outcome also for the creditors that they owe money to. Hopefully they'll be able to get those paid back. What else? Zopa is doing a maintenance period of a week, pretty long maintenance period. So don't freak out if you log in on January 22nd onwards to the 29th and you can't access your funds. It's because Zopa is doing a maintenance period on their platform. Now, what's going to happen during this period, because funds are not going to be reinvested, you're going to see the queue times increase a lot. So, I personally don't have a lot of money with Zopa anymore. Not my game plan. But if you do and you want to invest, and try to do it now, because if you wait till the 22nd, you're going to find your funds are going to probably be stuck in a queue for a long time. So there's that. So January 22nd through the 29th, Zopa maintenance period. Crowdproperty had Mark Stevens rejoin their non-exec board. And the reason, it sounds a little boring, I know, the reason why I tell you this is because one of the things that's really important within these peer-to-peer lending companies, exactly who is advising, the companies from the non-executive director boards and on the director boards. Who are the people running the companies? I think it's very important that we pay attention to that kind of information now, because we want people with experience who are not going to let us down as an investor. And Mark Stevens has, over 40 years in finance and banking. He used to be CEO of Harrods Bank. He was the deputy CEO of Aldermore. Guy's got a ton of experience, so he's going to be on the non-executive director board advising Crowdproperty on how they can expand. I think they're looking to have lent out £400 million within the next 3 years, 2 to 3 years. So they're really in the growing stage, and have a guy like Mark Stevens come back and advise them. That's a really big seal of approval for Crowdproperty. And they're definitely one of my preferred places now for sure. I think they're doing a great job over there. I hope they continue on that line of what they've been doing and continue to serve their investors well. What else? So yeah, by the way, if you want to watch, let's talk a little bit about. You know what? We're gonna talk about interest rates. So if you are sitting in cash and you're waiting for the interest rates to go up, I hate to tell you this, but if I had to make a prediction, I don't think they're going to move till 2023. The U.S. Fed has been saying they're going to keep them low until 2023. So put your money to work. Don't leave it sat in a savings account. I always suggest leave probably 12 months of your living expenses in cash at the most. If you're retired, probably a little bit more, but put that cash to work, because you're not going to get any interest from that money. Even things like the premium bonds are going to be going down. I think they've already cut the rates, and S&I. So you're talking about rock bottom rates for the next 3 years. So I'd say the next 2 years, put your money to work. What else? So debt. There was a study that shows 1/3 of consumers have accumulated £4.1 million in debt over the past few months with no plan to pay it back. The majority of this being on credit cards. By the way, somebody wrote on the Financial Thing Facebook group, which I highly recommend you join. But they wrote that they thought cryptocurrency, wasn't for them because of all the criminals using it. And through principle, they wouldn't invest. And, I totally understand the stance on that. No qualms about somebody saying that. But, if you want to talk about criminals, talk about credit card companies, right? They've been legally ripping people off for a long, long, long times with those crazy high interest rates. God forbid that you miss a credit card payment and you're on some kind of low introductory rate credit card, say 0% or 1%, and you miss a payment, that thing will skyrocket up to 25-30%. You want to talk about where criminals are acting, probably more in credit cards than cryptocurrency. Yes, of course, there's things going on within cryptocurrency of criminals moving money around, money laundering, but that's been happening way before crypto was ever around. People have been laundering money for hundreds of years, or ever since money was invented. So I don't really, for me, it's not a moral principle not to invest in cryptocurrency because criminals are using it. Because criminals do all kinds of stuff that we probably participate in ourselves, including using credit cards, which is one of my biggest gripes. I think credit cards are probably some of the most evil tools that people get themselves into huge problems with, especially young people. In fact, when I was younger, when I came to America to go to university, for anybody that didn't know, I came to Pennsylvania when I was 19 years old. Went to university there for 2 years, and I signed up for a nice, shiny green American Express card. They used to be green back then. And I was pretty surprised that this thing had no credit limit on it. And I soon got myself into a nice little hole of about 600 pounds on this credit card. It didn't take long. And the rate on it, I want to say, was 25%. Very easy to get in trouble with no credit limit back then. And talk about, of course, I have to take responsibility for signing up. But at 19, completely uninformed about finance and debt and how to use it and how not to use it, and how easy they made it to get this credit card. I mean, I had no credit history, never had a job, at least in America. I had never worked, and they just give me this card that I could have gone out and charged up 3 or 4 grand on it. And if you want to talk about criminal, I mean, that's probably some of the most criminal things I could think of, just digging a hole for people who are not very educated about finance to fall right into, and then, drag them through the mud as they acquire more debt, more interest gets piled up, and they have no way to pay it off. So, yeah, that's a pretty sad study of 4.1 billion pounds of debt accumulated within the last few months because of COVID. No way to pay it back. Could also affect the peer-to-peer world, especially with unsecured debt. Places like Lendinvest, rate setter with unsecured debt could be an issue for them upcoming. So we'll see about that. Very sad. Debt, I'm very, very passionate about people not taking on debt if they can avoid it. If you're a younger person, you're out there and you're listening to this, one of the easiest things to do is go out and get that big, brand new, shiny car. Well, it's only £300 a month. I can make that car payment. In the US, average car payment, I think, is about $480, which is insane. If you think about it, you're buying a depreciating item that you drive it off of the garage sales room floor, 20% of the value automatically gone. And the worst thing about a car payment, I've done it twice in my life, never do it again. But, people do it for the feeling that they get from the debt that they acquire, right? You get this nice car, you drive it off the garage showroom floor. It feels great, right? For the first 6 months, you're so happy about this car. It smells good. But a year and a half later, when you're getting those payments that are coming in through the post, and you have to pay this £400 payment or £300 payment, whatever it is, you start to feel less and less happy about that decision from a year and a half ago, and the car's looking a little bit dirty, the brakes don't work so well, and the newest car's out, and you're looking at the new cars going, oh man, I wish I had that newest BMW or new Tesla or whatnot. So I'm very much against, and I really try to educate people on this about car payments. Even people that have good jobs are, £500, $600, £700 car payments with these Audis and these BMWs. I'm like, look, just if you can't afford to buy a car with cash, you have no business going into debt to buy it. The only debt that I think is okay is a mortgage. I think property, you can leverage debt in some ways as long as you keep it manageable. I've leveraged debt to buy properties way higher than I ever should have done. It's got me into trouble during the property crash, 2008 and 2009. So I speak from experience. Having a pretty big property portfolio, way over leveraged, got me in some severe trouble back then. So if you're going to take debt, make it manageable. Make it something that if for some reason tomorrow you lost your job, you would be able to service that debt for a good amount of time with no problem. But when it comes to buying stuff on credit cards like TVs, and you plan on paying it off over a long period of time, just remember it's fine. But if you might say, well, I'm getting a 0% credit card, so why wouldn't I just use that free money? Yes, it's fine when everything's okay, but if for some reason you lose your job or something, you get a financial knock back and you can't afford to pay that anymore, that 0% on that credit card is going to go up to 20 or 25%, whatever the terms and conditions of the card is. You really have to be aware that bad things can happen in life, and do you really want to put yourself in that position? So I'm a big believer, if you can't pay in cash, unless you're getting some crazy deal from the credit card company with points or some huge promotional deal, or you can pay it off the month after you charge it, please do that. Don't get yourself in credit card trouble, and try to stay out of debt. There's something about being able to sleep at night with no debt. I speak from experience. I have very little debt now, just a small mortgage. And I don't say that to brag. I just say that if something happens in my life financially, I can sleep at night and it doesn't cause me a lot of stress being in debt. So yeah, there's and a quick tip, I'm a big believer too, if you do have credit card debt, say you've got 3 or 4 credit cards and you're paying minimum payments, you're trying to pay off a little bit more on a couple of cards, just take the lowest balance first. Whatever the smallest balance on the credit card is, make minimums on the other ones and pay that one down first, because there's a good feeling of moral victory when you get a credit card paid off, even if it's a small balance and it's over and done with. You've got to have some level of achievement, right? Because being in debt can really suck. It can really drag you down. So having a level of achievement where you feel like, I've achieved something. I've gotten rid of that small debt credit card. That one's gone. Let's start attacking the next one. It's called the debt snowball. So then you would take the payment and then apply it to the next card. Big believer in that. It works. It's very simple to do. Dave Ramsey in the US talks about that a lot. That's my debt rant. Go ahead and hit that thumbs up if you are enjoying the stream. I do this every Thursday. Thanks for listening to me natter on. I'm going to try to get under an hour today. We did it yesterday, 48 minutes for the first time. So that's what's going on. Let's look at cryptocurrency. We had a big correction last, I think it was January 10th. Bitcoin dropped from 41K down to 30K. It was a great buying opportunity, which I missed too, because I did not put limit buy orders in to buy at that point. I actually thought it was going to go a lot lower. I was thinking sort of $22,000 range, which it didn't hit, and I don't think it will now. I thought that was going to be the time that it would hit that bottom. So we've seen it bop right back up to close to, is it 40K yet? Might be back to 40,000, but so it was a good opportunity to get in at that point. I bought some coins right before it corrected, synthetics and Chainlink. Not a huge amount, more speculative, but I like what those coins are doing. But yeah, we're seeing $39,748 right now, which is what, like 27,000 pounds, 28,000, maybe higher. Ethereum booming. So good day on the markets too. We've had some really good movements on some stocks. One thing I would say, so there was this HM Treasury consultation about crypto assets and stablecoin. When the government starts to look at this kind of stuff, yes, there is some chance of regulation. But pay attention to this because it's going to become very much more widespread. I'm a big believer in that Bitcoin is going to hit upwards of $100,000. I predicted originally 40,000 by the summer of 2021. I think it's probably the next point is going to be 50,000. Again, this is not financial advice. Let me put that up on the screen because this is just what I believe myself. I think 50,000 is going to be the next target point. I don't think you're going to see prices under 30,000 again for a while now at this point. So averaging into, if you are looking to start to get into cryptocurrency, and I know some of our people that watch this as staunch, conservative, don't venture into anything that you don't understand. But cryptocurrency, do your research. It's got legs, and I don't think it's going away anytime soon. You're going to see, if you think about it, right? Banking nowadays is very underused. Like, what do we really use banks for anymore? I can't remember the last time I went into my bank. I use it to have some cash sat in savings, but I'm not using any of their services. None of their services are utilized by me personally. I don't go to a bank for a mortgage. I go to a mortgage broker usually. And disruptive lenders are now lending at better rates than banks will, and they're approving people that banks won't approve. So banks are very archaic. They're not paying any interest. So what are you really getting from a bank at this point aside of some secure place to store your money? And you can do that online banks nowadays. It's completely secured by the FSCS in the UK and the FDIC in the US. By the way, the FDIC insures up to $250,000 per account in the US, which is much, much higher than the UK FSCS protection of £75,000. But start thinking about this. Think outside the box when it comes to cryptocurrency. What could this be used for in the future? Is this going to become the new standard of currency? Banking, I believe, is eventually going to become obsolete. Probably fiat currency too, which is the dollar and the pound. Cryptocurrency will, I believe, start to become more stable, less volatile. We're seeing more institutions come in. And I also believe that this could be a once in a lifetime generational wealth building tool that you can buy and leave to your kids and your grandkids. And I think it's pretty cool. Banking is definitely archaic, very old school, something that a lot of pensioners are still going to use. No offense to any pensioners out there. I wouldn't expect you to understand this new age of what's going on with cryptocurrency or currency in general. Because currency, let's face it, we've got some big problems with it, and I see becoming obsolete at some point. When, I don't know if it'll be anytime soon, but there's going to be a mass adoption, I think, of the cryptocurrency. So, by the way, if you want to get yourself some free crypto and you want to try it out, Coinbase is my referral link. I just put in the chat. You'll get £7 of free cryptocurrency when you buy £100. So 7%. Take advantage of that. I also get the same kickback. Coinbase is the platform that I use. And also you'll have seen during the volatile times that the platform became very unstable. Yes, that happens. It's happened. It's been happening for years. People don't freak out. Yeah. I saw a comment by Mike saying pay off the highest rate first, otherwise you're accumulating debt faster than paying it off. Yes, like mathematically, Mike, that totally makes sense. But the problem is a lot of people that are in debt are emotional people, and they don't think very logically. Of course, it would make sense to pay off the highest interest rate. But if you have 3 credit cards, one's at 23%, one's at 24%, one's at 28%, dealing with an emotional decision of what debt is, people need victories. They need to feel like they're making a dent inside of this debt payoff. And so attacking the highest rate, you may. I think it's important to attack the smallest balance period, because I think you got to have a moral victory, and being able to get the lowest balance paid off first is the quickest way to seeing actual progress forward. So, but mathematically, of course, it makes sense to pay off the highest interest first, but I totally believe in doing it the other way around to get that moral victory. So yeah, the UK HM doing this study on stablecoin and crypto assets. You're going to see a lot more of that coming up. The FCA warns of high-risk crypto investments too. They put out a warning. Yes, if you're going to buy cryptocurrency, just buy the coins. Don't, there's probably some funds out there that are doing some strange things connected to cryptocurrency. Yes, those are risky. Yes, you could lose all of your money. The FCA says consumers should be prepared to lose all their money. I don't think consumers are going to lose all their money. You certainly wouldn't lose all your money, I think, on a crypto coin itself, Bitcoin or Ethereum. Some of the other riskier ones, very possible you could. But sticking with the main coins, fine. But yeah, so make sure that you understand what the difference is between an investment that's linked to cryptocurrency versus the actual coins themselves that you can download to your own wallet and keep forever. Now, there is a fund in the US called GBTC, which is the Grey Bit Trust, I think. Greystone or Grayscale, I can't remember the name of it. But that tracks the price of Bitcoin. And that's probably the only fund I would use. I believe the ticker is GBTC. I think you can buy it in the UK on some of the platforms. If not, if anybody wants to get a US trading account, you can use a company called Tastyworks, which has been around for a long time. Very, very reputable, and you can buy stuff like that through them. But I think it's better just to buy the coins, because those funds also, they charge a premium to own. They do track the Bitcoin price, but they're always higher than the actual price of the coin because they have fees. So, yeah, be careful with investments that are linked to crypto. News story saying CBILS loans that the government have authorized could be dangerous for peer-to-peer companies. Why would they be dangerous? Well, not all peer-to-peer companies are authorized to issue loans through the government CBILS program. We have Assets Capital, Lending Crowd. Which other one? What's the big one? I can't remember. It's totally slipped my... what's the big company that everybody hates? One of the big three. Totally slipped my mind. But somebody put it in the chat. I'll see it in a few minutes. Yeah, the problem is that peer-to-peer companies that are competing against, Assets Capital, Lending Crowd, are having a real hard time writing loans because the CBILS lending is much easier. The government's funding a high percentage of those loans. So these peer-to-peer companies are trying to fight for business. And what we have to be careful of and what we have to pay close attention to is if these non-CBILS lending companies start to lower their standards in order to attract more business, and they lower their rates, what happens is they're paying you as an investor the same amount of money, but they're taking on riskier loans to write new business, because that's how some of the companies make money, through underwriting fees and origination fees. So if they start putting loans on the platform that are not as high quality, but you're being paid the same amount of interest, we have to really pay attention to that. So that's why I say the CBILS lending could be dangerous for peer-to-peer, and not for every one of the companies, but ones on my top 5 I think are totally fine. But some of the other companies may be writing some lower quality peer-to-peer loans to generate business for themselves because they're having a hard time competing against Funding Circle. That was the name of the big three: Funding Circle, Assets Capital, and Lending Crowd, a couple of other ones. Yeah, so definitely something I'm keeping an eye on. That's why I tend not to stray into the other companies too much, because weird things like that can happen. Interestingly, too, going back to Bitcoin, I know we talked about Lendery, which is a company in Germany that I've been sort of keeping my eye on and researching, sort of with a half-hearted attempt that I'm going to invest some money, but they loan money to crypto traders, cryptocurrency traders on leverage. And there was an interesting article that came out that said about, I think, $1 billion of cryptocurrency derivatives were wiped off during the time when the Bitcoin price crashed down to $30,000. So what is a derivative? That's an options trade, right? So there's a lot of cryptocurrency traders out there that are borrowing money from companies like Binance, and Coinbase, and they're leveraging their original stake to borrow to trade crypto. So if they, for instance, have an account that has $100 in it in cash, Coinbase will lend them $100 on top of that to trade with. So now they're leveraged at 2 to 1. And what happens is if the cryptocurrency price crashes and now their account value goes from their $200 or pounds of original credit down to 115, so let's say it loses 75 pounds, so it goes from 200 pounds to 115, their account immediately gets liquidated. That goes to pay back their original stake of whatever they had in there, and it's to prevent their losses from becoming too much. Now, because that liquidation is automatic, when there's a price crash, these traders see their accounts immediately liquidated, and they have no chance to try to make that money back. They can't continue to hold because those liquidations by the cryptocurrency platforms are all automatic. So that's why there was $1 billion of options money just completely erased during the cryptocurrency downturn of Bitcoin. It's very interesting, that they have these automatic liquidation protocols. And that's one thing I thought was interesting about Lendery, that they had these triggers in place through the platform. So a trader could just technically, it's not possible for them to go below the amount that is set by the cryptocurrency platform. So as an investor side of things, it looks like a pretty good deal lending money to these people because those triggers are in place. If they weren't, that cryptocurrency balance could go all the way down and down and down, and then the trader could sell out and would end up owing the cryptocurrency money, which means the investor probably wouldn't get paid back. So that's what's going on with that. I'll take a look at your chat comments if you have any questions. Again, if you could hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel. We're very close to getting to 1,000 subscribers. Every single subscription helps me out a ton as able to run ads and actually get paid for the ads on the YouTube channel, which you don't have to watch. You can get an ad blocker, but YouTube takes all the financial things ad revenue right now because we're under 1,000 subscribers. It is the monopoly that we call YouTube that really likes to stick it to the small channels like me out there. Not being a victim, just telling you the truth. That's how it is. So if we can get to 1,000 subs, definitely very, very grateful to everybody that's become a subscriber to the channel. It helps me out a ton. Let's see. David's here. David Alderman and Chili Chilton. That rhymes. That's good. Jackie says it is Rayleigh. Very wet and cold. Rayleigh sounds like a name of an American woman that lives in Alabama, kind of out in the sticks. Rayleigh. Steve says perhaps a clear crystal ball would be an advantage. I don't know. I don't know that I would be able to see anything, Steve, in there. John says, I want to post a link to a Morningstar article regarding trackers, but don't know how. Advice, please. John, post it in the Facebook group. That would be the easiest way, and then we can all read it. Or you could copy and paste the link in here if you wanted in the chat comments. Ken Wallace is here from Ireland. How are you, Ken? Nice to see you. Hans Neisplach. Did I say that right? Hans Neitelsbach from Switzerland. How you doing, Hans? Nice to see you on the screen. Welcome. AkiChap said, what's that board leaning on the Triffid plant? Lawrence is 48 next. Oh, that's a mailing to put records in. Cheeky Boy says, happy 38th. Happy 34th birthday. Thank you. I wish I was that before. Yes, I know you know how old I am. Patty is here. Patty Gilfillan. Nice to see you, Patty. You'll have to rewatch the stream. Blend Network offered their first loan for 2021 today. Slow going, says Debbie. Yes, Blend Network has very strong due diligence. Sometimes it takes a little while for their loans to come up onto the platform. But part of that, you get a good, stable platform that hopefully isn't going to have a lot of defaults. Takes a while to get your money invested. Patty says, got all my cash out of rate setters. Quite a few, Bob. Congratulations. That's really good. Good to hear. Irving Stroll says, have you seen the outrageous 5% that F Funding Secure have just taken? Yeah, they take it from every single recovery, Irvin. So that's why we have the Funding Secure Action Group, because obviously that's ridiculous, and we're, as investors, are trying to fight against that. Richard Annie says, Richard McDougall. Hi, Richard. Nice to see you. Any word of Octopus peer-to-peer returning to lending as part of a larger group? I think this adds some safety as part of an overall diverse peer-to-peer lending portfolio. Yeah, I haven't heard anything. I'm not even sure they are going to go back to lending. Unfortunately, it's a shame because they were one of my preferreds on the top 5, and I really love what they were doing, but they are being very conservative, and I don't have any word of them returning at all. So, shame. You did hear all the noises. That's great. Yeah, it's funny because on my maybe I got the sound effects turned down. Here we go. Here's the party. We'll do the applause. Yeah, there you go. Okay. I see them buzzing in the background. The applause are there. We need to get some new ones. Hi, Lawrence. Picking up on Richard's comment about what to do about Octopus. What do you know about Octopus's EIS investment? Not too much. I tend not to do EIS investments. It's a little bit high risk for me, but when I was there a couple of years ago, I did talk to, what was her name? Oh, I can't remember now. But the lady who I sat with showed me around, gave me the tour for a couple hours. She told me about it. It looks solid. I mean, Octopus, I think, is a solid company, but I just don't tend to invest in those EIS things. But I would, if I was looking at EIS, I would give Octopus a choice. Give Octopus a look. They're big on financial management. They have a fund. They do financial management there, so they know what the hell they're doing for sure. Just watch out for the fees. See how much they are. Philip Walters says Growth Street communicated well throughout. Absolutely. They did good. Chica Boy says, I think rate setter may go down in a year or two. Their interest rates are a joke. Yeah, no, I don't agree with that. I don't think rate setter is going to go down. They got Metro Bank behind them. I wouldn't worry about that. John says, just learning the Kuflink basics query. If you reserve a project, will it auto become invested when it becomes live? When it becomes live? Yes. Yes, it will. Mike says, a year or two there and wind down, so probably sooner. That's the plan. Yeah, but when when they say going down, when somebody says going down to me, it's like they're going to go out of business, and they'll just become a part of Metro Bank, and they'll do unsecured lending, and they'll let all their secured lending probably just drain out to nothing. That's just my guess. Mike says NS and I might have to put rates up, likely to miss funding requirements. I don't know where they're going to get the money from. Government is absolutely broke. Well, Steve Manton says never use a credit card. Sage advice, Steve. Absolutely agree. Mike said Amex Green with charge cards and not credit cards. I know they used to charge me interest, so I don't know what the difference between charge and credit. I used to use it just like a credit card, so I don't know. ES says RE car payments. You're making a good point, but public transportation costs a fortune too, so it's better to get a car instead. Yeah, of course. I mean, there's nothing wrong with having a car, but buy a car with cash that you can afford. Don't put it on a credit. That would be my advice. And if you can't afford a car, scrape up enough cash to get a real beater, and then save aggressively and trade that car for a better one. Sell it. You probably get the same amount of money you paid for it if you buy a really crappy one, and you just trade up. Jimpy Darren says another largest Bitcoin correction before the end of January, hopefully down to 22. Yeah, I don't know. I don't see it. I don't see anything down to 22, but could completely be wrong. Richard says PayPal getting in on Bitcoin should keep the price high. I wish I had the bottle to buy some Bitcoin in years gone by, though, of course. But you'd be saying the opposite if Bitcoin was like $1,000 today. Hindsight is absolutely 2020. The thing I would mention again, I always talk about this. If you're going to buy coins, be careful that you buy it on a platform where you can actually withdraw the coins, because I believe PayPal is not one of those platforms. Some of the trading platforms offer cryptocurrency, but it's not actually real. It's some kind of a tracking cryptocurrency, because you cannot actually withdraw the coins into your own wallet. So I have a major rule about that. If you cannot withdraw the coins out into your own wallet from a platform, I personally won't buy from it. I think that's what PayPal does. Paul says, I made a deposit to Coinbase of £100 via HSBC. A week later, the money came back. Yeah, HSBC is one of those banks that hates cryptocurrency. They don't want you to invest in it. Get another bank account. That should be a good indicator of the evil bank and what they're trying to do to you. I know that sounds very conspiracy, but look, HSBC wants you to invest money through HSBC or leave your money there. They don't want to make it easy for you to get into alternative investments like that. And plus, they're keeping their consumers safe, right? But you can get a bank account through Revolut or Barclays. I have no issues. So Barclays, I've been funding crypto through Barclays for 4 years. Yeah, I know I'm going to take a lot of flack now for the pensioner comment. So these comments are a little bit delayed, and I'm reading through them. Paul says, hey, pensioners are brighter than you think. You know what? Pensioners are a lot smarter than me, because they managed to get to retirement, which I probably never do. So I'm not saying anything bad about pensions. I'm just saying that, our older generation tends to be a little bit stuck in their ways when it comes to newfangled things like cryptocurrency. But I know, and because you're here, you're educated and you understand about this stuff. Like Steve says, I'm a pensioner and I own crypto. Yes, you are, because I don't know if you bought it years ago. Hopefully you bought it in 2012 or 13. Now you're sitting on piles of money like Scrooge McDuck. But maybe you bought it because you learned some things from the Financial Thing channel. I don't know. Hans says, how much commission will be charged when I sell my Bitcoin? If you do it on Coinbase Pro, you will only be charged, depending on what the amount. I think it's up to 5,000 is 0.5%. So if you do it through Coinbase, you're going to pay 3%. So make sure you watch my video on how to trade through Coinbase Pro. Don't use Coinbase. I'll put the video again in the link so you can watch the tutorial we did on the live stream yesterday. It's going to save you a bunch of money in fees. So watch that video and let's have a look and see what the exact fee schedule is, because they have different levels of fees through Coinbase. Where's my phone? Here we go. Bear with me. Here we go. Let me log in. I'm going to show you. I'll screen share it. Pro.coinbase. If anybody hasn't seen the trading platform, I'll show it to you right now. Screen share. Hang on. Wait a second. Screen share. Maybe I don't have the screen share. There we go. There we go. This is the Coinbase Pro platform. Looks a little bit intimidating, right? But it's not. If you watch the tutorial, it's very easy to use. Just looks worse than it is, but let's see. Where is the I think they have a fee table on the Pro platform. Seems things are a little slow. You do have to kind of be patient because there's a lot of people on these trading platforms with the cryptocurrency, and sometimes the servers, they really get bogged down. So let's look under orders. You can see I have these limit orders open here. Still trying to hit this £22,000 price point, which I don't think will get hit at this point. I actually bought some yesterday. I wish I'd bought more. So you can see the fees right here, up to 10,000 US dollars, 0.5%, and then it drops down depending on how much you're buying. If you're doing $1 billion plus, you only pay 0.04% as a taker. So I think that's the buyer, the taker, and then the maker is the seller. So if you're a seller and you want to sell $50 million, you pay 0. So those are the fees. Pretty cheap. Now, if you do that on Coinbase, you can pay a lot more than that. So do it on the Pro platform. Hope that answers your question, Hans. Santander are dropping their 123 account rate to 0.3%. Yep, probably be down to 0.1% before you know it. Mike Powell says crypto won't be mainstream until stable coins. We'll see. It's pretty mainstream. You ask most 18 to 23-year-olds, they know. They know about it. But yeah, probably, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I think you're going to see some big developments in the next 6 months to a year on exactly how mainstream it comes. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be, Bitcoin won't be stable for a while. Imagine when you first started using the internet. I can't remember when I started, but what, late 1990s? Remember how it was unstable? 24K dial-up. We would never have thought that the internet would be where it is today, and things progress and grow. So I think Bitcoin will become stable at some point. Chickaboy is a pensioner. I didn't know that. I didn't know you were a pensioner. Annabelle says, I must watch the tutorial on crypto investing and then watch for the next Bitcoin drop. Yep. Yes, Funding Circle was the name I was trying to remember. Paul says, I'm trying to get money into Coinbase, but my bank won't allow me. Get a new bank account, Paul. Don't let the bank keep you down. The bank wants to keep you down. They shouldn't be doing that to you. Go to Revolut. Get an account. It's very easy. John Morgan says, with so many people, including novice investors, buying into Bitcoin, I just think it's a bit of a bubble. Everything's a bubble, John. Housing, bubble. Stock market, bubble. You got to understand what the technology is behind these coins and what they're going to be used for in the future. But yes, it would look like a bubble to most people. I agree. But I don't think it is. I think the best way to describe cryptocurrency is lifts and elevators down, stairs up. If that makes sense. You're going to see these fast drops down, stairs back up. Richard says, I hear what you're saying regarding CBILS effect on peer-to-peer. This reinforces the strategy of a wide, diversified spread of separate peer-to-peer platforms, 6 at a minimum, ideally more. Agreed. I think, you're going to see a lot of these CBILS loans default to the government taking on the 80% debt. Actually, you as a taxpayer are going to end up paying for it properly. Chica says, I think Bitcoin is alright for small amounts of money. I would never invest much in it. You don't need to. That's the beautiful thing, because the risk to reward is so high. You get yourself £1,000 of it, and if it 100x's, then you didn't really need a lot. And if it all goes Pete Tong, you can, you've only put in a little bit. David Lightly, welcome to the stream, David. He says, I like the idea of Lendery, but they say they've lent more than 300 million in just a year. That's more than Crowdproperty in 7 years. Can't find much about them online. Invite them on. Okay, I can do that. Yeah, they're pretty stealthy company. But 300 million actually isn't a whole lot when you think about it for what they're doing. Now, for somebody like Crowdproperty, it's a lot more challenging, because you're lending against property. The access of available people who are trading on margin is huge when it comes to crypto, so it's a lot easier to find people who want to borrow money. It's a lot harder to find property developers that have good projects. Yeah, Chica says, please do thumbs up, everybody, before the stream ends. Thank you. I appreciate that. I agree with that. Thank you for that comment. Jimpo says, anyone have experience with Source Capital peer-to-peer? I registered a couple of weeks ago, but I can't add funds into the accounts. Still seems to be pending verification. No, I don't have any experience. Mike says, been a massive exit on Cedars. 120% return for the initial route. Oliver Jones, I was going to buy £1,000 worth of Bitcoin 6 months ago when I used the paper hot or cold wallet. Missed a great opportunity. Gutted. I don't think you missed a great opportunity, Oliver. I think 5 years time, you will be okay. If you started averaging in, take your £1,000, buy £100 for the next 10 months, or 200 for the next 5 months. I'm a buyer. I'm buying and holding for the next 10 years, no matter what happens. Couldn't work out if I should use a paper, hot, or cold wallet. Yeah, Bitcoin you can hold on Coinbase now. I think it's always better to have it on a separate wallet, like a Trezor or a Ledger wallet, so you can get the coins off the platform. But I leave coins on Bitcoin, not too worried about it. Maybe I should be more worried, but... C. Whittle says, I use my HSBC to deposit on Coinbase, no problems at all. Yeah, I've had a lot of people email me telling me they couldn't get money from HSBC onto Coinbase. Mike says, I'm always over an hour if I read the comments. You're right. You're right. I try to go through them quickly. Hans says, I was charged 10%. You were charged 10% for selling. Did you sell on Coinbase.com, or maybe you had some kind of currency thing? I don't know. But it should only be 0.5% for a sale. John says, I have Arsenal versus Palace in the background. This discussion is far better. What's the score? I don't know. I haven't kept up on the football. Yes, I know I've gone over the hour. Sorry, apologies. We're almost done, I promise. Richard says, Crowdproperty has 25% minimum profit target for property developments before they land. That's a good thing. Yes, if you can't find the thumbs up, put your phone in landscape mode. Try that. There you go. 0-0 score. Okay. So I think we're going to wrap up tonight. Thank you for joining. As always, hit that subscribe button if you can. Please, thumbs up. Thank you, everybody, for your time. It's my pleasure to do this for you every week. Next week, we'll be back on the 21st. That's next week. We've got Narinda, CEO of Kuflink, on. It's my day before my birthday celebration, so come celebrate with me. Tell all your friends about the video and the stream. Tell your friends and family to subscribe. Help me get to that 1,000 subscriber point if you can. I greatly appreciate every single one of you being here and listening to me natter on about everything. And check your stock accounts today. If you have stocks, you'll probably be pretty happy. Hopefully you got some winners there. Thank you. Have a wonderful week. Be safe. Be healthy. And I will see you next week. Take care. Bye. Disclaimer time.